Zambia is a landlocked country in southern Africa characterized by uneven terrain and diverse wildlife, with many parks and safari areas rich in copper, cobalt, gold, and manganese, among other minerals. Zambia has three distinctive seasons, namely hot and dry season from mid-August to mid-November, a wet rainy season from mid-November to April, and a cool dry season from May to mid-August. During the rainy season, an average annual rainfall of between 700 millimeters is recorded in the southern part and 1,400 millimeters in the north. With a population estimated at almost 19 million, more than 60% of Zambians live below the poverty line, and 3/4 of the poor live in rural areas. 90% of Zambia's agricultural producers are small-scale farmers who face various production challenges, including the impact of climate change. Agriculture contributes over 50% to the national annual income of the country. Hence, with the aim to double its agricultural production and productivity, Zambia partnered with Japan through the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA.
We have been hosting a project called the E-COBSI, which is supported by JICA. On the ground, it is supporting the construction of irrigation, small irrigation infrastructure, such as temporal and the permanent weirs on the northern circuit of the country, where we have perennial streams.
E-COBSI project has started since 2019. Then this is a 5 years project, so this year is final year. So far, for 5 years, we got the great achievement. For example, in terms of irrigation development area, more than 500 hectares in Copper Belt, Northwestern, and here, Central Province. And also, the farmers' income has increased 70%, 170% compared to previous time. This is a great achievement by E-COBSI project.
The project is currently being undertaken in 6 provinces, and it's not all the districts in these provinces that are taking part. So from these provinces, the coverage for the project is about 45 districts. And so far, we have managed to put 1,051 hectares of land under irrigation production.
This project has been evolving from 2009. They began as a COBSI study. This is where the team was looking at the potential of irrigation using gravity water. Then they came in 2014 to 2016, and the project was called the T-COBSI, meaning Technical Cooperation on Community-Based Irrigation System. Now that one, it finished in 2016, and all the components of nutrition, water management, and marketing were still there. And now this one is called the expansion because they extended to provinces which were not there, but it has laid a very solid foundation.
So the project is focusing on a certain number of provinces that include the 3 odd or follow-up provinces and 3 new target provinces. So the follow-up provinces are those provinces that took part in a study period of COBSI and also the technical cooperation project of JICA So Luapula province, Mchinga province and Northern province are follow-up provinces because they are building up on the COBSI approaches from as far back as 2009.
The aim of this project is to increase the area under irrigation for smallholder farmers using a simple weir. A simple weir is basically a simple infrastructure that is constructed using locally available materials within the vicinity of the communities where this project is being implemented. There's also what we call the SHAPE approach, which is basically the market-oriented agriculture, where we are emphasizing to our farmers that they need to source for markets even before they produce their crop, so that at the end of the day, when the crop is produced, they are able to sell the crop. Issues to do with operation and maintenance, water management are also included in this project. We train our farmers in these activities because we want the farmers to sustainably use these infrastructures that they construct so that at the end of the day, they are able to serve its purpose. Because if these infrastructures are not maintained, then it means the amount of water that we're supposed to receive at the end of the garden is not going to be enough to sustain the crop growing period. There are also issues to do with nutrition that has been introduced in the project. And for the other nutritious crops that the farmers cannot grow, we are encouraging them to say they should grow a bigger portion so that when they sell, they are able to buy these other nutritious crops.
Then on the achievements so far, 462 camp extension officers were trained. So the number of schemes that were developed, 444 hectares in 568 schemes were developed under COBS. While in the under T-COBS, 968 hectares in 788 schemes were also added or were also developed. 90% of the technical services branch officers, the camp extension officers, and the block extension officers have been trained. More than 10 officers were also trained as master trainers. There are 14 permanent weirs that have been constructed, and a number of extension activities also have been done under the COBS period, whereby 1,310 sites of simple weirs and 776 hectares of irrigated area have been constructed and developed. Then, out of what I've mentioned in terms of hectareage and schemes, just for Northern alone, we have so far developed 250 hectares just in Northern Province in 260 schemes.
E-COBSI activities have been implemented in the field, beginning with the COBSI approach.
Community-based smallholder irrigation development, COBSI, is a concept we are using as a Minister of Agriculture to promote smallholder irrigation. Under this concept, we are promoting irrigation development through communities where a group of farmers come together to put up irrigation infrastructure for smallholder irrigation, as well as undertake all the activities as a group.
The project basically undertakes an approach of training of officers. Hence, they transmit the technology to the farmers by way of developing simple infrastructure called simple weirs. So these simple weirs are simple infrastructure that farmers barricade the stream using simple technologies of locally available material. They use poles, twigs, peat soil, and things like that to create a barricade on the stream and excavate a canal to lift water upfield to their intended or potential irrigation fields. And they are also taught on appropriate irrigation methods of gravity, where farmers open and close the water from the furrow or the canal to irrigate or to flood their fields for irrigation. The simple weir construction is basically one of the technologies that the farmers have really adopted in terms that it's cost effective. Like I mentioned, they use locally available material. Then it's also very easy to construct. You find that one simple weir on a small stream can take about 4 to 5 hours if you have a number of like 35 farmers to construct, and they'll be done with constructing a simple weir. The most tedious part would be maybe on the excavation of the canal, but if the community is well organized, they will be able to excavate the canal to take the water to their potential irrigation fields.
The weirs we construct, we have 4 types. We have single line, simple weirs. We have double line, simple weirs, and we have trigonal type simple weirs, and also the sandwich simple weirs. Farmers use locally available materials to construct this type of weirs, which is just basically grass, poles, twigs, and nshinde. They are easy to construct. A simple weir can be done basically in 4 to 8 hours. And when it comes to maintenance, they are also very easy to maintain. Farmers can easily, if it is a pole, can easily replace the pole, the grass, the nshinde. But they are very functional. They are able to raise the water and take the water into the farmers' fields.
Akale ilo toileta pila kuma bucket. Ilo toileta ma garden. Toileta bonfia ma bucket. Nomba toileta ma pa nono. Pamulando ma bucket ya kuomvi. Nomba toisa kwata kweshuko ya kutu pangira ko wiya. Tulalima tulakwanisha mu milile. Kusambisha mu baka skulu kwa sina tukwata ko wiya ntanshu kuchirefe tuwaikere nefe tuikere. Nangu malu ele kubana bali abana ono kwatita tule sangwa sana n'obulori wa mantisheni ero nakuli baka skulu fire twafa pamaka mubwika shibwesu bachiri chanza sana na tusansa mukakali chire tusekeshi na tutampa no kukulira mwa mayanda muri wiya ira ne batuletera
JICA has supported the farmer groups to change their attitudes from grow and sell to grow to sell, introducing the concept of farming as a business.
SHAPE is a smallholder horticultural empowerment program. This is a program which is being sponsored by JICA to make sure that the farmers who are doing irrigation go into issues of farming as a business. So the SHAPE approach is premised on the concept of two key pillars. One of them is farming as a business, and the other one is autonomous motivation. When you talk about farming as a business, we expect farmers to engage into sustainable production, which involves marketing and production. And then autonomous motivation is when we expect farmers to own the system, which means they need to have the autonomy. They also need to have the relatedness to the program, so that they actually become self-reliant and be able to manage things within the environment that they are in, especially related to production. Then SHAPE has got 4 essential steps. The first step is the farmers must understand what the goal is. This sharing of the goal has to be done with a lot of sensitization to let the farmers know about the program. The second step is on the awareness. The farmers would need to know and be aware of what is involved in the program. So the activities involved in awareness is that we need first to conduct a perspective baseline survey. This is when to know the first step, the farmers' awareness at the beginning of the program. Then they come to do issues of market survey so that they understand what is involved in the market. Then the third step involves decision making. In decision making, the farmers have to understand that they need to maybe do crop ranking. After they've done the market survey, they need to understand what crop they need to grow. Then they need also to draw the crop calendar. After they've drawn the crop calendar and they've known what crop they need to get involved in, now they come to the fourth step, which is on imparting of the production skills. So this involves farmers being trained on issues of production on the crops that they have chosen from the market that they will need to grow them. So this actually brings in the element of demand-driven extension and delivery service, where the farmers now request the extension officer to have them trained on the crops that they have ranked first and that they need to grow for the market.
The approach to us, we are noticing very significant results in terms of upping the farmer incomes. Farmers used just to plant without really having a consideration of the market, right? But under this particular approach, they only produce based on the results they have from the market, what the market is informing them. As they do their crop calendar should be able to, they produce for the peak demand periods, because that's when they fetch more, or the leaner period when the commodity is not there on the market. So our horticultural farmers, okay, we are seeing significant improvement in their incomes to that effect. So we can only appreciate JICA so much, because I think what they've done for the sake of our farmers, for Muchinga as a province, in terms of the capacity building programs they've been carrying out, and because of what we're seeing in terms of positive results from the farmers, I think we can only say thank you to JICA.
Up to this point, we've trained close to 200 officers in the province. That's in 9 districts where we were implementing the E-COBSI activities. And the officers in 10 have gone on, because out of that number we have over 135 extension staff who have gone on to train their farmers. If you check currently, we have a number of farmer groups that have actually managed to break into the market with their various crops in a number of districts. And apart from that, even our staff have used the same approach in non-shape camps, because it's an approach that works. So in conclusion, as a province, we've benefited a lot from using the shape approach, in the sense that the farmers are able to see the benefits of their agriculture, the benefits of their horticulture. They're able to utilize the water that we have so much in abundance in the province. And so even going forward, beyond the project, beyond E-COBSI, as a ministry, we will continue using this shape approach, even in districts where we did not have E-COBSI activities, because it's an approach that works, and it's an approach that's been tried, and it's an approach that's been proven. So if any farmer is serious with expanding their agricultural activities and moving forward, improving their household incomes, then the shape approach is the way to go.
Chimbi echo batusambirisha ababa n'ensuba esamu kutwafirisha ko ba JICA ifya market survey mukuya mukufaya ku kuchisankano cha filimwa uko bashitisha ifilimwa mukuya mukufaya ifilimwa ififwaye kwa palili yanshita kuli kuba n'enso abashitisha abiri ne fya kufitantika iliya information ila twafirisha ko ukweba tino matwapanga calendar iyakubyalilapo filia filimwa ifyo batwebere ukweba ati ngachakutatirwa filima fikala tupele endalama ishalondoloka palili yanshita so ngatwatantika ero nomba twasalaula iyo ebati crop ranking twaishibe filimwe fyakubaira pokulima mu garden myesu ne fyakukonkapo ne file konkapo pakweba ati filia fintu tatule lima fye ukwabulo ukwata market kabili twalileko okuya kukonkela bana kungula ku market na ngukubule fipefye sukutwala ku market tutwalileka pantu abene bana kungula besa mukufaya fintu ifyo twabebere kuba tukabalimina kunoko ku garden yesu so chali twangukila kono kutwangikilako
Yes, I will have to one day. If you have to one day.
JICA has also strengthened its commitment to fighting malnutrition and overnutrition, which significantly affect human life and health.
Basically, the E-COBSI project has been a very good project. The first part is that it is an irrigation project that included nutrition. And this was a very good thing because all the interventions in the agriculture sector, the primary goal is to produce food, and that food is consumed. So as a project which is focusing on irrigation, the aspect of including nutrition was very beneficial to the target group, because now they could learn about nutrition, learn about the types of food that they need for them to be healthy, and also use the irrigation facilities to grow these different types of food to improve their nutrition.
So since the inception of E-COBSI, there was no component for nutrition. But after the endline survey, we discovered that farmers, despite producing much, the consumption part was missing. In terms of knowing the quantities of food to sell, the farmers had inadequate knowledge. So now, through interaction with the nutrition experts from Japan, it was noticed that we can still, as a province, introduce a handy scale, which in Japan they are using and is helping much. So as a province, we started promoting this in all the districts where we are conducting nutrition education in all the E-COBSI sites. So the challenges that we've been facing is that our farmers in the field, mostly in the past, they used to consume food using the same or from the same pot. Now when we introduce the handy scale, this time around, farmers are able now to use it to determine the quantities of food that they can use.
So we have what we call Tebakari Eyo food hand scale. So the food hand scale is just actually the guide to help a farmer to know the food and the amount of food that they are supposed to eat. Of course, understanding the 5 food groups that a human being should consume in a day. So under the Tebakari Eyo, you look at the carbohydrates, you also look at the protein, you also look at the minerals. So when they measure, they know, for example, if it's food, if it's shima, they'll know how the palm should be full for that particular person, depending on the age. So meaning, each person has to use a palm to measure the amount of food to eat. Each person. The only person that cannot use a palm is the one who is under 6 months.
So this is what was one of the good achievements, because now we are even thinking of introducing this to the whole country through the consumer guide that we are developing as the ministry in conjunction with FAO and other partners. Of course, JICA also has played a very important role through the E-COBSI project. It has supported the development of these hand measures of the Tebakari Eyo. So through the E-COBSI project, we hope to benefit the whole country once this method of measuring food is included in the consumer guide and then disseminated countrywide. I think this is a very good example of how projects should work.
The other activity, especially at this model site, has been the fish pond construction. There's been a fish pond that has been constructed using the same water from the weir that is being harnessed from the weir to use in the gardens. The same water is also utilized in the fish pond. The reason why this fish pond has been created is to improve nutrition in terms of protein. We want our farmers to be able to access nutrition from the fish that are going to be able to produce for themselves. Because usually when we did, especially the baseline survey, we found that most of the farmers could not afford fish, they could not afford dry fish, they could not afford meat and other things. So we said, okay, even this same water that we're harnessing from the weir, we could also construct a fish pond. And right now, that has been done. They've harvested. The first harvest has been done. And now the farmers themselves, in the first harvest, The first fish farming that was done, JICA came in, E-COBSI came in to help to procure everything that was needed to run that. But then this time around, the farmers have come together and they're saying, now we're going to continue with this project on our own. So this time around, they're not getting any support from E-COBSI, but they themselves have taken up this mantle. So we are very happy and we're very proud of that, and we hope that this can continue and this can be replicated in the other model sites and in the other core sites.
Vatiro wako ensho bushku wamutasha ilo bwacha. Kuno kutenzi twaishiba okutira ati obulimi obwantapirira n'obulimi bwa munfula efintu fimo ife twayikalile ife twamwena okuba ati twalifika pantu twalemula mu kuyishiba kwesikwate kwabo tamwabo obulusi nombo bukankala bwaishe ekikaba kutira abanensu abafikukire insakwe ba agriculture baletandira kuno bayisamula okutira ati kuno n'amensheko yali ayengisana ayamenshi mu bukankala obu bakweta obwa bulimi bwantapirira kwetu ababikira po ekintu na kimbi ekyakubasambirisha okuteeka esabi tatwayishiba okuteeka esabi twalemula kwatiri mbisabi tamwabo obukumunango bumu pano bayisa tampoku batwetera amasambilo yesabi twayisayima okutira ati kanshi aka grupu kesu katwambirepo okwesha okuteeka esabi bayisa tusambirisha baba bapambana bwino okusambirisha twayisayimba amafish pond leo twayimba amafish pond twatampira okuteeka esabi mu April ili sabi ilelo lyakumanisha emyezi 6 n'enshikunga twapenda leo butuka kuli 7 era twayisamula okutira ati kanshi isabi nalyo kintu kimwe kisuma sana icyanguka mu kuteeka kyalemera kwati kintu kyakosa kanshi kyalyanguka bayisa tusambisha efu yakupanga feed batusambisha efu yakulisha esabi elio pamukuma wine ili nesabi amensha mwene alebombla ku garden yaisa apiteko na mu fish pond isabi ukulekula nokuna ko tulelima kuisamba tulelima efyantapirira kanshi ubukumu naboneko kutila ati kuli twalundako pala twabelele twala kulilako sana pantu kabitwa ishiba kono obulimi bwachinshi n'obulimi bwesabi mukwanda kwandikwa kutila ati pano mana tusambila tachapule fe pali twafika fweka ama members balisendo umusango bakopera ko batampo kuyimbira ama fish pond na pali nonchita ama fish pond kuno na yafula no bulimi ubwesabi na butwalila nendalama nango achifayo shupi kulika fertilize wa ispo bule sabi washitisha apale kitanganyika bale isala abantu balefuma okutali bayisase ndesabi mu fish pond yesu atwasambilishwa na agriculture twamba okuyimba kanshi nensala ya munani nena shani na ipwa kuno kunchende.
To ensure sustainability of these simple techniques that enhance agriculture production and productivity, as well as farming as a business and nutrition, there is need to upgrade simple weirs to permanent ones.
The simple weir is just an entry point. We expect farmers to be working in an organized manner, and then when we realize to say there's sustainability amongst the farmers, we recommend a site to be upgraded for a permanent weir. So when we talk about permanent weir, we're basically talking about a stabilized infrastructure that is going to be constructed, that will stand a test of time, that is going to use stabilized material. And this infrastructure that is going to be constructed, it is going to harness or impound a lot of water, which will translate into a bigger land to be irrigated by small-scale farmers. And we know to say when there's a bigger land under irrigation, this will translate into more income for the farmers.
The permanent weir, like I mentioned, it's an upgraded infrastructure which is less maintenance cost, because we now use concrete or stone masonry. So the farmers have to provide the raw materials such as the sand, the labor, and either the stones or any other locally available material. The project only buys for them the cement and the tools to be used at this infrastructure. So depending on the size of the permanent weir, they range in vary in terms of prices.
JICA started implementing this project, E-COBSI, from 2019 to date. It was difficult to organize the group in 2019 because people didn't know the importance of this irrigation system. But along the way, as we started with temporal weir, people are now able to see with their eyes, and they have accepted this project.
So, tuambile weir yesu mu simple weir. So, mu simple first before tatramba simple weir tualebo mfiafia ama bucket tukutapilila. Tunomba mukusa kwatapo kusamba kupanga simple weir after nabesa tusambilisha. Tuasambile fia simple weir. Tuamba nombokula tapilo okula isula fia menshi. Tualiko kumfia bucket tuamba nombokula isula monfie. Atuaisula mu kimifolo kwanja bintu mwamona musalo isule moneko. Ngatwaisula monfia menshi, erira monfia menshi. Tumwasa bika mwafuradisha. Tumapika kala 1 week tamwatapilirako. So muri icho mukwikala mtuasa kwate shuko nomba tuasa ingira muri permanent uya ngafintu mulemona. So permanent uya yesu ero yamba. So twete expect kweba topo ikapira panomba ni mukupwa so yarapa tushele fenomba no kupusha fya pano. Nishambo kuchita ta fraud damage twambo kwa talent. Togramba 50 ale kwata burubukumbu muri simple yamba twala kwata sana obukumu. Nabana twakula sambisha panomba twakula kwatenda la machine.
Wiya yesu ofe tuambire pone nshinde. Mukamana twale imbe nshinde olo ture masa. Nomba pa mukumasa kwe squad pwa badi tuletera kwa mabwe twalimba no mufolo olo nomba ture chitena nikane. Ture kula wiye na menshi nomba yale pita. Apa nomba ubuya ntanshi kuno kuna nikane kumutundu. Kuri ubuya ntanshi ubusuma.
JICA is the organization that initiated this E-COBSI project in Zambia. Their contribution has been very, 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 very vital because the project was designed in such a way that almost all the departments within the ministry have been a part of the project. JICA has played a very, very important role in capacity building our officers within the ministry. We are very, very privileged that some of our officers have even traveled to Japan to get trained on various courses. A lot of value, not only to the project, but even to the ministry and the farming community.
All along, our farmers were depending on rain-fed production, which meant that depending on the rainfall, the pattern of the rains was determining how the production would be. If I've got poor rains, or there is a flood, their production was affected. And that income was just once in a year. But the coming in of E-COBSI, there are two elements. One was the issue to come up with simple weirs for irrigation purposes, venture into horticulture. That means they will be in business throughout the year after harvesting some water, and they start watering their gardens, which is a good idea. Unlike depending just on one income, which is maize production. Apart from that, farmers were growing and sell. But the coming in of this program taught the farmers that before you even go into any production, look for the market, look at the demand of the market in the field. That's where farmers were taught, were empowered, were capacitated to go and engage the market forces and see what was wanted at what time and for how many quantities. Then they will come back with group power, grow something which the market was demanding. And that meant also they gave them enough money. So looking at this program, by the time we started, the hectarage under irrigation was so minimal. At the moment, we could easily say that we have done more than 350 hectares under irrigation, and a number of farmers in each and every district have come into the program of irrigation. All what they are using is just simple technology. No much logistical financial funding is needed.
We realize that E-COBSI is very possible in the northern part of the country where rainfall is very good and the streams are flowing, and therefore we can trap this water and take it to where the fields are. But however, going forward, we are saying that the other component that the farmers need to embrace is that of catchment management. We need to manage our catchment, because if we don't manage our catchment, this will have an impact on the amount of rainfall, as is the case in the southern part of the country, where the farmers were just indiscriminately cutting the trees, allowing erosion to take place, and then in the recent past, you will find that even the rainfall patterns have changed for the west. You will find that it's very difficult to know when the rainfall season is going to start and for how long you're going to have it, and even the distribution, because of the impact that indiscriminate cutting of trees has had on the environment. So we are saying that with E-COBSI, we try and embrace the culture of managing our catchments so that we don't adversely affect the environment, and therefore also have a negative impact in terms of climate change.
As a ministry, we have realized that it is a very good project for our communities. The Ministry of Agriculture will incorporate some of the principles the project has been promoting. So to this effect, we will continue with the promotion of temporal weirs. We'll still continue with the construction of permanent weirs for our areas in the northern zones of the countries where we have a lot of perennial streams. So now as a ministry, we really have integrated or taken on board a lot of these principles for E-COBSI. So we find that our staff as well, they have been able to, they have received a lot of training on how to identify these sites, as well as in the designs and actual construction of these dams. One other issue we are just bringing on board is to incorporate the aspect of catchment management, so that farmers are able to conserve the catchment areas where these weirs are being constructed, so that these facilities can be used over a long period of time.
With this achievement, I'm very happy, but this is not my, per se, achievement, but you yourself, your officers, government officers, and also small-scale farmers. I'm very happy to see your great effort. I'm very much hoping government of Zambia, even your small-scale farmers, to continue this kind of good activities. Thank you very much.
This achievement was only possible with a full range of participation and effort by the Ministry of Agriculture staff, from the field level to policy level, in addition to the farmers themselves.